rape children in order to sell them.
Our own government is facilitating the absolute destruction of the American immigration system, and I can prove it point by point. I'm unafraid to speak the truth. This is just data-driven and experience-driven.
Now I've never been a one to play it safe. I might play a little dirty someday, and I'm following fate. They say I'm the chosen one. And I know what it takes to be a king, and be the song everybody wanna sing, and break harmony, and be the chosen one. Ain't nothing gonna stop this. Ain't nothing gonna stop this fire. I was born to be making history, something greater, something higher. Ain't nothing gonna stop this fire. It's plain reality. I was born to be something greater, something higher. Ain't nothing gonna stop this fire. This fire. They told me I was never getting far, but those words couldn't take to heart. I knew the day would come, be the chosen one. Yeah. I never had a safe place to hide. I run to the end of the tunnel to find a train on a shining sun to be the chosen one. Ain't nothing gonna stop this. Ain't nothing gonna stop this fire.
Driving home, my staff who lives here in the Hill reminded me, don't stop at a stoplight until I'm out of town. If I see a red light late at night, since there's very little traffic, slow up at the other block so I never come to a full stop except in the middle of the block because of carjackings. Stopping at a light, people standing in a corner, walking up with a gun.
We need all the protection that we can get in the city because the city is really getting dangerous. A person like me at this age, I have to make sure to come home before sundown.
And I want to read you a text from someone who I won't say their name, but they're we'll just say that they're very liberal. And he says, this may sound controversial, but I'm not totally opposed to Trump's National Guard move in D.C. I know he's doing it for politics, but crime remains rampant. I've had too many friends carjacked, shot at. None of us will walk more than 3 blocks after 8 p.m. 13-year-olds are committing many of these crimes. Quite a change from a decade ago when things were much calmer. Well, that actually sounds like the D.C. that I lived in when I lived a block behind the Supreme Court. And, you know, every 3 days, one of my neighbors was getting held up at gunpoint. I mean, there has been a crime problem in D.C.
Welcome to Truth with J.J. Carrell. Listen to that buffoon at the end tell you his liberal friend, and that tells you everything you need to know about liberals. They would rather either couch their words, make sure that they're quoted anonymously, than say Donald Trump is correct. They would rather get guns pointed at them, carjacked, kidnapped, raped, murdered, except if Donald Trump says it. That is a great difference between the left, which I believe are evil. I don't believe the left they just have bad policy. I don't believe the left are misguided. I believe the left are evil. I believe they're satanically possessed. There is no other explanation. Don't even try to sit here and couch it with me and say, well, you know, No. They're voting, as Tim Walsh just did in Minnesota, to kill the baby at 9 months. They want abortion all the way up to the vaginal canal. As the head is crowning and the head pops out, they can shunt the baby in the head and kill it. They're mutilating children's bodies. Mutilating children's bodies that are irreversible. They are demonic. They want to totally replace, and they have replaced and changed the demographics of America, knocking the white population down from the high 80s, 87 to 89% in 1970, down to in 2040 projected to be at 45%. We are now have surpassed the 60% and now are as low as 58, 59% of the population. Do you not think that that's demonic? I do. So let's throw all my cards on the table. I think they are demonically possessed. And they would rather be murdered and raped than go with Donald Trump. Here's the difference. Obama, Biden, if they did this, every Republican, every conservative, every person like me would be cheering, going, well, that's great. Hey, I'm for it. But those two jackasses never did anything for America. Quickly. Name me one thing that Biden and Obama did that was beneficial to America. I'm waiting. Go ahead. I'll give you. I'm going to start. I'm working on with my producer, Logan, is I want to take in phone calls if I can. And I want to open it up to the liberal lunatics first. You can't name me one damn thing. All the health care. Obamacare, premiums that are rising up to $2,000 a month, with deductibles that are in like $10,000. And we have jackasses like the old John McCain that stood on the floor, talk about people that hate Trump, and gave us the thumbs down on Trump's bill to eradicate Obamacare. And that brings us to another question. Where are the Republicans now? Where's Donald Trump? Why are we not scrapping the Obamacare? Why are we not doing a gigantic overhaul of the medical establishment? Why do we spend more money per capita in the world, and we're the sickest? Have you ever noticed when you drive around big cities, small towns, mid-size, doesn't matter, and you see construction, I would bet money that it's tied to a hospital or a new hospital is going up. How's that possible? Someone told me that was very smart, common sense, said, how do you build hospitals, JJ, if nobody's going to be in them? How do you ensure that you build a 10 million square foot facility with state-of-the-art equipment? So we're talking $1 billion minimum for a brand new giant hospital, if you're not guaranteed to have patients. Why would you build a 5,000 room hotel on the beach and you can't fill it up? Well, you'd go bankrupt, right? Same thing with the hospitals. Our whole entire system in our government is broken. Our whole entire way of life is broken. You have Donald Trump saturating the nation's capital with police, law enforcement, National Guard. It's just a presence. Don't tell me that crime is going to get worse the more police you put there. No. It's all it is you're there, and it stops the crime. And then you have to have the courage to attack where the crime is, meaning you have to have the courage to go into the black neighborhoods and arrest black people. Why are you arresting black people? Because they're committing the overwhelming majority of the crime. I'm talking high 90s. I am a complete states' rights guy. However, when I go into certain states, I am vulnerable to be raped, murdered, or killed. then the National Guard, the national federalization of those cities and states has to happen. If the people are so incompetent, and we're going to get into that in just a second, all of the DEI hires, what I don't believe America can wrap their brain around, because they look at the stupidity that rules our nation. And you can't, no one will make that dot. No one will connect the dot of lawlessness, crime, incompetence, corruption, greed. No one will take that dot and draw a line down to DEI, meaning you removed competent, intelligent people, mainly white people, because we are the majority, white men, and it don't even start with me about being racist. When you go look at corporate companies, you look at law enforcement agencies, they removed white people. I think in the last year of Joe Biden's term in office, I believe that 90% of all corporate hires were other than white. So stop with your insanity, and we'll go toe-to-toe together if you like. And what did we do? We put incompetent, barely literate people of color in positions of authority and power, especially in law enforcement. Especially in law enforcement. The dumber you are, the darker the shade of color you are, you layer in that gay, lesbian, transgender bullcrap on top of it, you got DEI heaven. And that's what's running our country. We can go to the white grandmas in Cincinnati, chief of police, and the white grandma in New Orleans. So it's not particularly just people of color, but it is a woman. It is, quite honestly, those two women must be lesbians. They just look like a lesbian, so let's just call it as we see it. And then you go in to Mayor Bowser. Then you go into Mayor Adams. Then you go into Mayor Johnson. Then you begin to go into the chief of police in San Francisco and the chief of police in D.C. We're about to get into that wonder child right now. And I'm telling you, as a former law enforcement officer, with absolute 100% certainty, that every person, every law enforcement officer that has to work under the DEI insanity has zero faith, zero trust in their chain of command. Zero. And that has a profound negative impact on the way policing's done. If you do not believe you have top cover, if you do not believe that if you go out and do your job, you're not going to be protected. I'm not talking about going out and doing criminal acts and being protected. I'm talking about going out and doing your job. And when you do your job in law enforcement, there are going to be fights. There's going to be shootings. There's going to be deaths. There's going to be all kinds of chaos because you are dealing with the bottom layer of society. And when you deal with the bottom layer of society, you are going to have problems. So you need someone, a group of someones that will have your back. Not someone like this woman in Washington, D.C. that's over MPD. That is a grotesque-looking lesbian, black, inarticulate, chief of police that rose up the ranks through DEI and equity, inclusion, and everything that law enforcement despises. She's your boss. So you get in a fight with some black man or some black woman in Washington, D.C., and it goes sideways because it always goes sideways. And you know, and I've been there, I know how this feels. You do your job, you do it righteous, you know it's the correct way, and then the very first thought that pops into your head after all that chaos, all that violence, all that life-threatening situation, and the very first thing that pops into your head is, they're not going to back me up, and they're going to hang me out. That's the truth. That is a large component of the lack of policing in America today. Do you feel safe in Washington, D.C. prior to this? People still don't feel safe. You feel safe in New York City? You feel safe in Chicago? You feel safe in Springfield, Ohio? Los Angeles, San Diego? Feel safe in any border town? Phoenix? I live in Kansas City. You feel safe going to Kansas? I forbid my wife and son to go to Kansas City, Missouri, Kansas City, Kansas. I don't care. Either one. Downtown without me. Not allowed. Absolutely not allowed. Major shooting 2 years ago. My wife and son, the only two things in my life that have absolute meaning and I can't live without, they were down there and they almost got shot. Blacks were shooting at each other in a parade. Randomly, wildly shooting. And let's make sure that, and I want to put this out there because people are so grotesquely ignorant. These black gangsters are not going to the range and being taught how to not have your finger on the trigger. Do not pull the trigger unless you want that bullet to kill someone, that you are holding the weapon properly so your bullets don't go down range wildly. I've never been trained to shoot a weapon by holding it over my head sideways, yelling curse words with my pants hanging down. We're going to talk about some things today that you may find uncomfortable. I don't. I've been talking about these things for a very, very long time. I have been looked at by family members. I have been looked at by friends. Strangely, like, man, that's a harsh way to view things. But professionally, I'm validated. Every single day, everything that I have been saying for a long time is professionally validated. Everything, not some things, everything. Am I right about everything? Absolutely not. But the things that I have been discussing, the border, crime, race, corruption, religious and religion insanity, the pedophilia that runs through the Catholic Church, you're damn straight I'm on the money. Can we play this, Logan, about how crime stats are down in D.C.? Can you play this? I want you to understand, before you do, Logan, I want you to understand the narrative that is coming out. Is the Democrats are saying, we don't need this, even though we feel like all my neighbors are being held at gunpoint, raped, murdered, but the crime is down 30%, so we're safe. Okay, number one, if there's 1,000 murders, and you're down 30% and there's only 700 murders, or there's only 500 rapes instead of 550 rapes, 650 rapes, you feel safe? But then when you listen to men like this guy, who is a former police supervisor, talk to you about how they manipulate the stats, and I have lived through this in the Border Patrol, the manipulation of data is profound, all to secure promotions in the future for the people. This is why, quote, crime is down. Watch this.
Claiming police supervisors in the department are manipulating crime data to make it appear violent crime has fallen considerably when compared to last year.
When our members respond to the scene of a felony offense where there is a victim reporting that a felony occurred, inevitably there will be a lieutenant or a captain that will show up on that scene and direct those members to take a report for a lesser offense. So instead of taking a report for a shooting or a stabbing or a carjacking, they will order that officer to take a report for a theft or an injured person to the hospital or a felony assault, which is not the same type of classification.
Greg Pemberton says the police department's command staff is focusing on two categories in order to get the numbers to fall. They are armed with a dangerous weapon, an injured person to the hospital.
When management officials are directing officers to take reports for felony assault, or if they're going back into police databases and changing offenses to felony assault is not a category of crime that's listed on the department's daily crime stats. It's also not something that's a requirement of the FBI's Uniform Crime Reporting Program. So by changing criminal offenses from, for example, ADW bat or ADW gun to felony assault, that would avoid both the MPD and the FBI from reporting that as a Part 1 or a felony offense.
Pemberton says the union has been gathering evidence for some time now by looking at reports and talking with officers all over the city.
What we've heard through our members and through members of management that are willing to talk with the union is that this is a directive from the command staff, is that they want to make sure that these classifications of these reports are adjusted over time to make sure that the overall crime stats stay down.
As of last Monday, when we spoke with Pemberton, D.C. crime data shows violent crime was down 28%. Today, the department's website says violent crime is down 25% when compared to the same time last year, and overall crime is down 8%.
That's preposterous. There's absolutely no way crime could be down 28%. Last year, they suggested that it went down 34%.
As for the claims made by the...
How do you like that? How do you like the fact that the upper echelon of Metro PD and DC just lies? I'm telling you from a guy that was in the belly of the beast. This is exactly what happened. I've witnessed it in my career in United States Border Patrol. The manipulation of data to make things look better because I want to get promoted. Instead of just saying the truth, hey, things are out of control. What are we going to do? But in order to do what are we going to do about it, you have to have competent law enforcement people that have done the job. I'm going to show you the chief of police. She looks like she's 7 feet tall, looks like halfway like a man. I'm going to show you this video, and she's at a pride parade handing out sex kits. I'm not misreporting. Listen to me again. I'm going to show you a video of her walking and excited at a pride parade, shaking hands of fellow gay people and handing out sex kits. You can't make this up. This is what's running Washington, D.C. Why would you be at a pride parade, number one? Why wouldn't you be there working to diligently bring down the crime rate? But you can't because you're incompetent. Go ahead and play this quick clip. You honestly think that there's one police officer in the entire DC Metro that respects that lesbian? Do you? Do you think that she's done the job ever? No. She doesn't even know what chain of command is. Watch this video. Understand what chain of command is. That's the first thing you'll learn when you get into either Border Patrol, FBI, DEA, local PD, sheriffs. Chain of command, chain of command, chain of command. That is what rules everything. Chain of command, and making sure everything gets pushed up, and then the great leaders, as it comes down, shoulders the burden and makes it easier and allows the guys to do the work. But there's a chain of command, and you do not skip even one rung of it. Everyone knows chain of command. It's drilled into your head unless you are an incompetent lesbian DEI hire. Case in point. Play this one, Logan.
Metropolitan Police Department working side by side with our federal partners in order to enforce the efforts that we need around the city.
Can you tell us what the chain of command is now?
What does that mean?
Well, is it Pam Bondi speaking to the mayor, telling you, or...
What does that mean? Did you see that stunned look on her face? What does that mean? Well, sweetheart, that means you're at the top, and the mayor sits right above you or to the side. But you are the top of the chain, sweetheart. Maybe you should have looked that up prior to running around and high-fiving your homies in the gay world. Those bullets and those rapes, they don't care if you're gay or not. This is an epidemic across our nation. We are hiring the most incompetent people in our society to run and rule our society. In law enforcement, don't you think you would want the most seasoned, the most not polished, the most seasoned, the guy with the most experience that knows how to handle not only law enforcement officers, but the savages that they have come in contact with every day? Wouldn't you want the very best? Wouldn't you want, more than anything, a male that is going to have alpha dominance over hundreds, if not thousands, depending on what department you're in, of absolute ultra alphas that need to be controlled, that need to be mentored, that need to be protected in order to serve America. An alpha is the only type of person that can lead other alphas. A fat, large lesbian DEI hire or a white grandma that should be baking cookies is not going to be a leader of alpha men. I don't give a crap about if it sounds sexist, if it sounds insane to you. What I find is you're insane. I find you to be grossly incompetent, lacking of no common sense. The reason why we have no law and order, why there's chaos, is because we have the dumbest people, the most sexually perverse people, the people of, quote, color, and women running our law enforcement. They should not be in positions of authority and power in law enforcement, period. I'm going to make a statement that is, it's amazing I have to say this out loud. There are jobs that women should not do. Oh, that's racist. I don't see a lot of women bricklayers. I don't see a lot of women construction workers. I don't see a lot of women bounty hunters. I don't see a lot of women that are really great police officers. I don't. Are there anomalies? You're damn straight they are, and I worked with them. But if you laid out a common theme, I would say no. JJ, you need to go in that dark wooded area. Or JJ, you got a large narcotic boat landing on the shore right now. You need to pick 5 guys and go. Those women agents would not be in the top 5. Sorry. Just the truth. Why? Because my life has meaning. Do you understand? My life has meaning. And I've had it. I've absolutely had it with the DEI bullcrap. I'm going to ask Logan to pull this post up. I'm going to read to you this woman, okay? Her name is Pamela Smith. She's the chief of police. Nice haircut, sweetheart. She served as the head of diversity, equity, inclusion at the Metropolitan Police Department, MPD, before becoming chief. She was hired in May of 2022 as the department's first chief equity officer. Chief equity officer. Let me just make sure you understand what her obligations were in this. It was to develop an organizational strategy for department-wide accountability, provided strategic advice to leadership on DEI matters, and supervise related units such as employee well-being and equal employment opportunity. You can take that off, Logan. Holy Mother of God. You can't make this stuff up. You cannot make this stuff up. She's chief of police. Logan, I don't even know if you can do a quick look. I'm going to do it while I'm on air. I'm going to look in Google. Number of police officers in DC. Okay. They have fewer than 3,400. 3,400 law enforcement officers, and their leader is not some strong alpha male that has been in the trenches, that has done the job. No. the leader of the alpha males that keep DC safe or do not keep DC safe is a large black lesbian DEI expert. And everyone has their hands up in the air going, I just don't know how it got this bad. I just don't understand. Well, because you removed all the white people. You removed all the competent whites out of positions of authority in the police force. You removed all of the very strong alpha male black police officers out of the ranks. And then you promoted people of color, of both sexes, of all crazy sexual perversion, and you put them in there and they have no ability to articulate their views, no ability, no experience of use of force, no idea what it's like to arrest somebody, and you put them in a position of authority, and everyone down the chain of command, and thus, yes, I know what the chain of command is, not like the lesbian from DC. The chain of command and everyone under your chain of command feels fear. Not fear from the enemy, the savages that I have to go into the ghettos and the barrios to arrest. No, my fear resonates from the incompetency above me. Got a guest coming in just a second to talk about a film festival that have great memories for. Before I do, I want to talk about our sponsor, sat123.com, sat123.com/JJ. Look, it's school time. My son's going to school tomorrow, first day. He is not happy about it, but he's going. And he's going to go with something called a ballistic backpack. Are you telling me that the young children in Washington, D.C. don't want to have a ballistic backpack when they go to school? You're telling me that if I worked in Washington, D.C., as a staffer or some other cog in the wheel of the stupidity of politicians, that my backpack would have a ballistic shield? You're damn straight it would. I talk about Sat 123 because I want to be prepared. I want my family prepared. They're known for, obviously, sat phones. You purchase a sat phone, you get a new sat phone for free when you get a less than $100 a month subscription, and now you have complete connectability. My son's about to start driving. My wife and I are traveling all the time, driving. I want to have that ability. Cell phone towers are down. They're jammed. They got burnt. The cell towers got burnt by some man-made fire. The wires, the cables got washed away in a man-made flood. I want to have the connectability to talk with a sat phone with my wife and my son. If you watch this show, or if you have any inkling of what's going on in the world, and particularly America, you know you need to be prepared. It's not, I wonder if. You need to get a sat phone. You need to get a ballistic backpack. You need to get a generator. You need to get a Starlink so that you have connectability. Go to sat123.com/JJ or the number on the screen, 941-841-0844. And you'll be shocked that there is an English-speaking American on the other line. You can thank me later. sat123.com/JJ. I don't even want to get into, Logan, I don't even want to start this next segment until I speak to our guest, because the next segment is going to be, I'm excited about talking about it. I'm going to talk about Nick Fuentes very soon. Who is Nick Fuentes? Well, he's a truth teller right now. You know what, Logan? We're going to go right into this, and we'll just have our guests, and when they get here, we'll bring them on. But I want to talk about Nick Fuentes. Who is Nick Fuentes? Well, he is a young man that has exploded on the scene. He's been talking for almost a decade about these things, but has absolutely exploded onto the scene. And why is he exploding? because he's talking about a disaffected, a disenfranchised, a forgotten, not just forgotten, but a marginalized group of people, a demonized group of people. And who are these group of people? They are men from 18 to 30. More particularly, they are men, white men from 18 to 30. Logan, do we have our guest? Okay, we're just going to stay with Nick Fuentes. Nick Fuentes is the voice for the voiceless. These 18 to 30-year-old men, mainly white men, have been demonized, have been told that they're miserable human beings because they're white. And he now has a voice that is powerful because it's a tidal wave, a tsunami of white pride that is rising up and saying to everyone that will listen, go pound sand. We are here. We deserve, at the minimum, a thank you for the nation we created. And we are proud of who we are. I have been stating this for quite a while, and I knew that the pendulum would swing back, and when it swings back, it's going to swing back hard. You have demonized us. You have canceled us. You have demoted us. You won't even hire us. You take people that have below level IQ, people that are grossly incompetent, grossly illiterate, just absolute individuals with no intellect, and you hire them, you promote them because they have a different skin color than us. And we're pissed off. We're pissed off. I can remember back in the 90s, the late 90s, early 2000s. Do you know, we didn't really have computers. It was still going on. We had to make transition. So you had to go up to the hot board. It's called the hot board. And in the hot board, you would look for jobs that were coming open in the Border Patrol. We had something called the Potter decision. And I remember reading supervisory, this was my next step, be a senior patrol agent and then a supervisory patrol agent. I would read these and I'd be excited, like, oh man, look, there's 5 openings for supervisors at my station. Oh, or at the station, our sister station, oh my gosh, 5. And I'm a high producer. I would get in that 5. And then I read all the way to the bottom. African American only applicants allowed. Oh, that effing stings. Nick Fuentes, like him or not, I don't really care. I'm just reporting on who he is. And I'm pointing out the obvious, that there is a movement that cannot be stopped. It will not be stopped. No one can stop it. And that is what makes them scared to death. And I'm going to play this clip. And I want you to watch this gentleman by Kevin Donovan talking about culture wars. Listen to this, the best description of what's going on with Nick Fuentes.
He's a master. I mean, he's got the biggest influencers in the world calling on him. Here's the guy who's living in his parents' basement, spouting off of the mouth the last 5 or 6 years. And that's masterful. I mean, people spend their entire careers to try to get the kind of attention this guy gets. But, you remember Godfather Part 2?
Yes.
Remember the scene in the movie where...
I just watched it last night.
Okay.
I'm joking, but I watch it a lot.
Scene in the movie where Michael sees a revolutionary jump into a police car and blow up a grenade. Kills himself and a couple of the military police. And then he talks about it in front of Hyman Roth. And Hyman Roth said, "What does that mean to you?" And Michael goes, "It means they can win." Because they were willing to give their life for a cause, right? Nick Fuentes is someone to be reckoned with. He is, I think the bigger question is, why is he here? What is he the result of? And I would say, since the post-World War II baby boomer generation, the roaring 80s, the 90s, and all the fraud and propaganda we've been dealt, he's an answer to that, right? If you look throughout history, revolutionaries always come as annoying voices. They never come pretty. They never come agreeing with the narrative. They come saying things that are uncomfortable, saying things that cause us to take a look in the mirror. Why is he saying these things? And why is he getting 50,000 plus people on a live stream? Why are you getting phone calls from your friend's son asking you questions about Nick Fuentes? We have to take a deep look at this, and we have to look in the mirror. I've never been a fan of Nick Fuentes. I don't listen to Nick Fuentes, but he has to be reckoned with. Why is he here, and what's the revolution that he started? Because it's here, and we have to recognize it. When you look at the early founding fathers, Thomas Paine, John Adams, Thomas Jefferson, they were censored. They were told to shut up, they were chased after, and they were told to be quiet because they were bucking a system that they were born into that they didn't agree with anymore.
That man is absolutely correct. You don't have to like, he's right. I'm not expecting anyone to like Nick Fuentes. I'm not expecting anyone to jump on his bandwagon. I watch Nick Fuentes. I listen to his clips. He is a truth teller. You don't have to like him. That's Jason Whitlock's show. He's absolutely spot on. Before I bring in the next guest, I want to play this clip because I want to finish this off with Nick Fuentes. Logan, can you play? I want you to listen to Nick Fuentes, and I want you to see, before you play this, Logan, I want you to see his anger. I want you to feel it. I want you to feel the exasperation of being demonized, having people have contempt for you, that marginalize you, call you vile names, debank you, cancel you just because you're white. You don't have to like that I'm white and I'm telling you about Nick Fuentes. I could show you videos of black influencers playing Nick Fuentes and saying, I agree with everything he's saying. You don't have, just like Kevin Donahue just said on Jason Whitlock, the clip I just played, you don't have to like him, but you're going to have to acknowledge that he exists, and you're going to have to deal with the repercussions of what he's saying, because it's a movement. It is happening. It is live. It is real, and you're going to have to deal with it. Play this, Logan, please.
Charlie Kirk says, did you see this clip? He goes, your Generation Z sons have negative views about Israel. You need to tell them this. Time out. You need to tell them, time out. He said, if you feel like a loser, if you feel like your country's been destroyed, get a second job. Get a Hillsdale online course. Observe the Shabbos. He literally said this. I am hurtling towards you, full force, going nearly 90 miles per hour, weighing close to 1,500 pounds. I am hurtling towards you like a human missile to blow up this whole thing. And you're telling Generation Z, buy a Hillsdale course, get a second job, observe the Shabbos, go to Turning Point? You are not ready for this. You are not prepared for this. And I'll say it now like I did in 2017, the day after Charlottesville. A tidal wave of white identity is coming. And once word gets out, they will not be able to stop it. As I said, the day after Charlottesville, 8 years ago, prophetic. You think you're in control? Do you feel in charge? Who else we going to bring in? Elon?
I think that statement, do you feel as if you're in charge? there is a recalibrating of power. You can't go, this is human nature. This is human nature 101. You can't take the pendulum and swing it to the left. And I'm not talking just a little bit off center. I'm talking to the ends of the earth left. Sexual perversion, insanity, DEI, castigating white people, being racist against one group of people, and think that that pendulum is going to stay up there and hover in insanity. No. It's going to fall, and when it falls and it swings, it's going to go far right, and history is showing that it's going to demolish everything in its path. We're seeing that now. We're seeing this Nick Fuentes. We're seeing the explosion, and he is absolutely right. The description that he is something, a movement that's going 90 miles an hour, weighing 1,500 pounds, is not going to be stopped. You may knock it off its path a little bit, but it's going to destroy everything in its wake. I believe that. You're going to have to deal with it. We're all going to have to deal with it, one way or the other. If you agree with him or not, it's irrelevant. He's here. He has power. He has a voice. And there are millions and millions of people like him that are demanding respect. Wake up, America. Before I bring my next guest in, I want to talk about Patriots Made. Not real quick because it's important. You talk about how do you take your power back? Well, one way we can do it, we can stop giving all the big box stores our money. So Sam Walton's family, his young daughter, Christy Walton, can take her money and go give it to No Kings and burn down cities. We can stop defund the police and Black Lives Matter, and having organizations pay for paint of rainbow colors all over our streets. We can just stop that, or we can just continue to give it to them and be shocked that we live in this sexually perverse, insane world. We can. Or you can go to patriotsmade.com and buy American-made products by Americans for Americans in America. Shocking, I know. For less money, better product. patriotsmade.com/JJ. I have hundreds of, I think probably over 1,000 now, growing, of my listeners that have already made the change. patriotsmade.com/JJ. I want to bring in David. David is in charge, a director, owner, creator of the 1A Film Festival. David, welcome to the show.
How are you today?
I'm doing great. I'm very thankful that you're on today, because this is the second annual 1A Film Festival. And I just want my audience, before we get in and I'll talk to you about it, I want my audience to understand why this is important for me. Because last year was your very first film festival in Greenville, Texas, in a beautiful theater in Texas. And I got to live out I don't want to say dream. I don't like to, dream has a connotation that it's never going to happen. It's fantasy, like a lottery. My aspiration, my determination, my goal in life, one of them was to create a film about the border and be able to bring it to a theater. And you allowed me the opportunity to release and premiere my documentary with Ryan Matta, What is Treason Trafficked? And I got to sit or stand down at the bottom of the theater. And I, for the whole time, I didn't watch the movie. I just looked up at the audience and saw their reaction. And that is a memory that I will cherish the rest of my life, because that was a great accomplishment personally for me, to have it on the screen, but to be able to see the reaction, that it was so positive, so received so well. That will be something I cherish, and I thank you very much. But I want you to tell my audience about your film festival, second year in a row, and what are your aspirations? Because I don't think this will end this year. I think it's going to continue to grow, and that's my prayer, that it does grow.
Well, I'll tell you what, you did bring it. You brought it in a big way. That was the world premiere, and I was so proud to have that as a part of the lineup, because it just gave the importance. It set the tone of what we were going to go into that weekend, and the information that y'all put in the film was amazing. It was cringy. Everybody sitting on the edge of their seat with, distraught looks on their face, and And as a filmmaker myself, I got to experience that on a big screen in a Dallas theater, and to watch those couple of hundred people's expressions is priceless. And the way I try to tell people in your situation, it's your life's work. It's not just a movie. It's your whole career. It's everything that you've learned, and it's your blood, sweat, and tears, and it's your future, and it's your history, it's your security. And to put all that out in such a raw way in front of the world and say, here it is, love it or hate it, I'm doing what I'm called to do. That's the power, that's the strength, and that's the kind of people that we want to bring to the Film Fest. So last year we had 12 amazing films, and it was a great experience, 3-day event, Friday evening, all day Saturday, Sunday morning. And it was broken up in a way where it didn't seem like we watched 12 movies. It was an amazing experience in every respect. The awards, the Q&A, I wish y'all could have stayed longer. It was even better, for the awards and all that. It was a really good time with the family. And, just knowing that experience could be done again. We built it last year as a template. We wanted to redo this. We wanted to make this a staple, something that we can draw from. So this year, if you go to 1afilmfest.com and buy a $25 ticket, you also get access to last year. So you get the 12 films from last year. It's a library. It's an encyclopedia of information. And, last year we covered about a decade's worth of information, and we start 10 years ago and work our way to the present. This year, we're doing propaganda and censorship. So we're starting, 4 or 5 years ago and working up to our current situation that we're in. And it just enlightens people as to what we're suffering and the reasons for it, and I know you had Tamara Lee on the show the other day. She just came to me and said, David, we need our own film fest. Sundance, all these other secular groups or, non-Christian, non-conservative groups are doing, films all over, and people enjoy that. And she's been to Film Fest and she knows. And I said, let's make it a reality. So it, took us a little while to get everything ironed out and get, our agreements and our location. And Barbara Haran at the Texan Theater in Greenville, Texas is amazing. That's our home. We're never planning to do it anywhere else. It's just a beautiful theater. I hope people can experience it someday in person. And it's a dinner theater. So we feed people. We do the whole nine. The service is out of this world. And it's just a great experience, not only for camaraderie, but education. And then to know it's a live stream event, that's exciting. Not everybody goes to events anymore, but you can. It's optional. You can show up. And then to know you have it for the next year, that you can go back to the library, host your own watch parties, have 25 or 50 people if you want, and you've got your one link. So you can show them the movies. You're not pirating anything. We encourage people to share. Don't share the link and give the link away, but invite people over and share the films with them. And a lot of people will watch movies that won't go to a political event or listen to a political talk. So it's a great opportunity to educate your friends. You can buy extra links and send them to your liberal friends. If you want to donate and don't know who to donate to, send us the money. We'll donate them out. We give a lot of these things away to people, and we appreciate the support. $25 isn't a lot, but you get the 6 films from this year, which includes James O'Keefe's Line in the Sand. Very amazing that we got that. Trennis Evans, one of our friends, was instrumental in helping. And we also got American Rights Alliance, which is a group that Trennis and Don Jr. and several prominent attorneys are sponsoring our event this year. So we're excited that we're growing. And, the way this goes, JJ, at the last minute, every time, we get bombarded with more films. People say, well, can you show my film? Show my film. We started with 7 last year. We ended up with 12. So this year we cut it off at 6 to keep it a one-day event. And we still have, contributions. People are still asking. We had a guy from England yesterday ask if he could, add his film. So we're talking about doing one in 6 months and then do another one in the August, September range again, the annual. So we'll see how it turns out. But there seems to be a little bit of a growth going on. People kind of like this format. It's non-intrusive. It's not invasive. And it's entertaining, and you can stop and start it whenever you want from your own home. So there's advantages to it, but 1afilmfest.com. Just go check it out. It's worth it.
And it is on August 23rd, correct?
That is correct. August 23rd, Big Greenville, Texas. It's amazing.
Let me tell you that if you want an experience, I believe that you purchase the $100 ticket and you go to Greenville. I was there. I drove in. It is like a picturesque little town in Texas. And you're like, well, this is very quaint. And then you go inside this theater and you're like, holy smokes. It is like, it's top notch. It's 5-star. It's incredible. What an experience. But I have a minute, and I want to take that minute to give you the opportunity. Why did you choose this theme of censorship and propaganda? Because I believe, just my 2 cents, that this is the manifestation, the culmination of decades of propaganda and censorship, and we are now living in the middle of it. Why did you choose that topic for this year's Film Fest?
I think it's the most important thing in our lives, and it has been for a long time. People just didn't know it, thus the propaganda. You can't steal people's thoughts the way they do and inject things the way they do and really curb society. They're treating people like cattle, bouncing them around. I've always called it the 3M, the music, the movies, and the media. The movies show you how to live your life. The music tells you how you're supposed to be, and the media tells you what's going on. And they're all lies. They're all fake. Until people get back to the basics, back to God, and back together and understand these are all tricks of the enemy. Let's just call it like it is, to destroy, to kill, to steal. We know the drill, and the book is correct. When you talk about the Bible, it's very specific about what we're living in right now. And it even says that they will hate Christians. We're seeing it every day. So we're trying to just educate people that propaganda is real. We experience so much through J6, but I've done StopHate.com for decades. I started Stop Hate in 1992 because I saw what the LA riots, what they did with a little video, and blew this big story up and caused riots that should have never happened over the acquittal of those police. And I understand, and then the OJ things and all these different ops, let's just call them. Look at January 6th. When you see the level of Fed setup, you see their involvement, you see how it all happens, and how the media uses, it's like Nancy Pelosi said with the smear campaign. You just say something bad, the media runs with, then you quote them. That's all J6 really was. But people were too dumb to know that a lady didn't have a drug overdose at a Trump rally. I mean, come on, folks. 2 guys didn't just die of natural causes. 1 girl didn't deserve to be shot. But everybody left the next day thinking, well, these people deserved it or they died of natural causes. 1 girl had a drug overdose. Where is your critical thinking? And that's really what we're trying to get people to, look beyond, look under the cover, look behind the wall, and find the truth for yourself and then share it with others. It does no good to know the truth if you don't share. That's part of this process with the Film Fest. We want it accessible. We want people to be able to see this in the privacy of their own home if they want, and learn these things and understand why censorship and propaganda affects us the way it does, how it's brought us to where we are, and how we fight against it and fix the problems.
Couldn't agree more. I cannot wait. I'm going to go buy my ticket, 1afilmfest.com, 1afilmfest.com for August 23rd. David, I hope to bring another film to you within the next year or two, and be a part of this great organization that you created, this great event that I believe is going to grow and grow and grow, because I don't believe you can put the genie back in the bottle anymore. We live in the age of awakening. We now live and see reality as it is, and it's not pleasant, but we have to fight back, and you're doing it with the film festival. Thank you so much, and good luck this year. Incredible memories that I'll hold. Incredible memories that I'll hold for the rest of my life. Brother, because of you. Thank you very much.
That goes both ways. Thank you so much for having me, JJ. It's great to see you.
Good to see you. Thank you, David. Everyone go to 1afilmfest.com. 1afilmfest.com. Incredible organization, incredible time, an incredible memory personally for me that I will never, ever forget. 1afilmfest.com, 1afilmfest.com. Fast show. I'm looking at, I got 38 seconds and counting. DEI, Nick Fuentes, and 1A Film Fest, all in 60 minutes. Not bad. Nick Fuentes is right. David is right. I am right. There is a 900-pound rocket going 1,500 miles an hour, screaming down the freeway. It is destroying everything in its wake. Get ready, America. The America we knew yesterday is not the one we know today, and the future America is going to be completely altered and different from today. Good or bad, you have to make that decision on your own.